So not many people know about Banksy, do they? I mean, he's shrouded in mystery. You've met him.
I met him. We, as a family, left with just $10 We had to abandon the house, the home. Everything had to be abandoned because nobody would buy the house.
One reason why we have different opinions, why we think differently, is because we've had different life experiences, we've had different life stories.
She was a tough lady. She was a proper Dagestani, decorated with medals. She walked with bare feet to feed her 4 children. One of them was my father.
So you were in and out of fights all the time?
All the time.
Because you were a Jew?
Every year I would say to my wife, I'll make a little bit more money and then I'll do my art. And that year never came.
But you had an accident and that changed your life?
Completely.
What happened?
I held a record, the biggest loser on Deal or No Deal for 9 years. Whether you like it or not, you were born artist. Every single human being on this planet.
No art talent, Tolleck.
Because you have not developed it.
Saatchi was that salesman that you were looking for. So
Saatchi was has made many artists. He has destroyed many artists as well, Saatchi.
So is it why?
But Banksy is a completely different story. 40 pounds from the back of his bun.
How much would that have been worth now? But by involving himself in politics, does he not alienate people that oppose his politics?
He doesn't care anymore.
Welcome to another episode of UDecide, the podcast series where we talk to interesting individuals and discuss their experience and points of views. Today, I'm pleased to have Tolleck Winner, a highly acclaimed sculptor whose works have been showcased in galleries and public spaces around the globe. Tolleck's art delves into the themes of identity, the human conditions, the human suffering, and our connection to the world around us. In this episode, we'll hear about his incredible life journey, the inspiration behind his sculptures, the challenges of being an artist in today's world, and we'll have some fun talking about all these things as well. Very welcome to the show, Tolleck. It's really nice to have you here, and cheers for a start. And you heard my introduction about yourself, but talk about your own sculptures yourself. Tell me what your art is all about and what you do.
Well, my art is pretty much very abstract, and also is to tell a story. Through art, you'll be able to tell a story like any storytelling.
And we've got one of your sculptures here. This is called the Never-Ending Flame.
That's correct.
So what's the story behind that?
Well, the story behind that's we always like to be remembered for something. Mm-hmm. And Never-Ending Flame, it's something that's that passion, that creativity never ends. It burns on. Well after, it's very autobiographical piece, super autobiographical. It's about something that you leave behind. You want it to keep on burning, that legacy, keep on telling the story, keep on making people and giving them inspiration and giving them hopes, giving them love. And that's what true art is about.
And some of your sculptures, they've made it to public places,
yes,
to galleries. Talk about that. So I know you've got one in Peterborough, is it?
I've got 2 in Peterborough. One has been there for 21 years.
Where is it exactly?
It's next to Anthony Gormley's sculpture and Anthony Cairo's in Peterborough Sculpture Park, on the trail to Peterborough Sculpture Park. So my sculpture is the second or the third from the entrance. It's literally called People. I've taken a shadow of a couple walking along the river, and I've taken that ripples from the water, and I've created a couple, a very abstract couple, that's called People.
And it's got that ripple type of effect.
Very much.
Yeah.
And a poet has written a poem about it. It was sent to me by the foundation. Mm-hmm. I was quite chuffed to hear about somebody would take time to write a poetry about.
Do you remember what it was? Can you recite it now?
I couldn't, but I will send it to you on WhatsApp. I will send it to you so you can read it. It's quite interesting. Yeah. But the second piece, I was commissioned by Peterborough Sculpture Trust 14 years ago, and it's actually 25 sculptures in the square. It's the biggest installation I've done to date. Is 30 foot by 30 foot by 8 foot high. It's like a chess set.
Right.
And I'm still waiting for this to be installed by the trust. They claim they haven't got the money to install it, but hopefully this year it will be installed.
And you got some of your pieces in famous galleries, haven't you?
Well, I've done 29 shows in Mayfair. I've done shows with living and dead artists. And in famous Coke Street, I've done 25 shows. I've done 5 shows in Albemarle Street with Albemarle Gallery. So I'm not new to the art world.
Of course. But you mentioned that each one of your sculptures tell a story. And
Yes.
It's interesting that because you've got a very interesting life story yourself. And I always say that we are a product of our experiences and our life stories. One reason why we have different opinions, why we think differently, is because we've had different life experiences. We've had different life stories. And yours is quite unique. And I want you to tell my subscribers about yourself. You were actually a Jew born in Dagestan. And
Yes.
for those of my subscribers who've never heard of Dagestan, Dagestan, at the time when you were born, was part of the Soviet Union. It's
Still
one
Russia.
of the it's still
Still
one
Russia.
of the states of the what we call the Caucasus, the Kafkaz.
Yeah, the Kafkaz.
Where my ancestors come from.
Yes.
But mine come from Georgia, and you were from Dagestan, which is near Chechnya and
Next door to
Ingushetia.
Chechnya and next door to Azerbaijan.
And they're known as very fierce people.
Absolutely. We
And-
were called the Jews of the mountains.
That's right,
The
yeah.
reason we were called the Jews of the mountains, when it was a Persian persecution to convert to Islam or die,
Because at that time,
we could not leave.
that area was part of the Persian Empire.
Exactly. Well, Georgia, Dagestan, Chechnya, and
Azerbaijan.
was all Persian Empire.
Armenia, even to some.
Yeah,
yeah,
some of parts
some-
of it.
yeah.
In 1723, the Russian Tsar invaded that part, took from Persian Empire, and basically told all my ancestors to come out from their hidings because they were hiding in the mountains, not to convert to Islam.
Okay. That's why they were called the Mountain Jews, because
The
you
Mountain
were
Jews. We
hiding
were called,
from.
exactly. We were called the Mountain Jews. And my great-great-great-grandfather built the very first synagogue in my hometown, which still stands today, with only half a dozen of families left. When I left in 74.
How many Jews were there when you were there?
In 74 was just 100,000 Jews,
And how
and
many
now
now?
maybe 4 or 5 families left.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Who are guarding the synagogue that my great-grandfathers were built.
And what do you how old were you when you left
I was
Dagestan?
15.
So what do you remember about the first 15 years of your life there?
The first
it was
15
tough,
years,
no?
it was very tough. Coming out of school and getting into fights with Lesgins, which was obviously that were the
another
mountain
Caucasus
Muslims.
tribe,
yeah. That was
Where they do the Lesgin dance, the famous
exactly,
Lesgin dance. Yeah.
exactly. So if I was called
So you were in and out of fights all the time?
all the time,
Because you were a Jew? And
well, because I was persecuted
Yeah.
as a Jewish kid,
Right.
And I still remember my mother taking me at least once a month to go to have stitches done because I was cut up, and it made me tougher.
Yeah.
It made me a lot tougher. But
What
but that's
doesn't
part
kill
of
you makes you stronger.
exactly, exactly. That's a good saying. Yes.
So, but apart from all those daily fights and the tough times that you had, do you remember? I mean, the 15 years that you were there, do you have any good memories from there
I've
as
got
well?
fantastic memories.
Tell us about them.
Well, first of all, 4 seasons. Every 3 months, you know exactly what weather to expect. Because I come from a vineyard country. I come from beluga caviar country. Right. And the 4 seasons really always stayed in my memory. And also school friends and fantastic memories. I've got more good memories than bad memories.
So, but what made you leave there?
Well, basically, my ancestors forever wanted to go to Jerusalem. Every year we would say at Passover, next year in Jerusalem. And for thousands of years, my ancestors have said, next year in Jerusalem. And so next year in Jerusalem. We already had family in Israel. And My father said, yes, we're going to immigrate.
But at the time, under the Soviet Union, it wasn't easy for Jews to immigrate to Israel.
It was tough as nails.
So how did you manage it?
Well, basically, my father was thrown from his job, thrown out. He was fired.
Because of being Jewish? Or
for being...
Or not being a member of the Communist Party?
No, for leaving Russia, Mother Russia.
Ah.
For leaving Russia, for being a traitor to Mother Russia. You live in Russia. You cannot leave Russia. But in those days, the American jury gave $10,000 American dollars per person to leave Russia to the Russian government. We, as a family, left with just $10 American dollars. We had to abandon the house, the home. Everything had to be abandoned because nobody would buy the house because they knew we would abandon it. So we left with $10 American dollars.
That's not a lot, is it? How many of you were there?
It was 2 of my siblings, my mom and dad, and my grandmother.
So 6 of you?
6 of us. $10 American dollars. That's all we were left with.
So you were put on a plane?
First of all, we went on the train. Then from Vienna, we were put on the plane. We went through Warsaw. We went through so many countries, and we ended up in Vienna. We were there for a week. Then from there, we went on the plane straight to Tel Aviv. It was a 19-day journey.
So what year was that when you arrived in...
1974.
So
July 1974.
Was that after the Yom Kippur War? Or?
Oh, yeah.
So this is a new country now.
It's a new country, new language, new culture.
How did you feel? Were you were you happy that you were there, or were you overwhelmed with all the challenges that faced you?
As a kid, it was pretty easy, to be honest. A child gets adapted. You adapt.
It's much harder if you
for an adult
emigrate. Yeah, as an adult.
As an adult, it was
That's
a
why
lot
it was
more
easy
difficult.
For me.
It was a lot more difficult for my mum and dad. For my grandmother, it was impossible. She'd never learned the language, but she wanted to be in Jerusalem.
She never learned Hebrew?
She never learned Hebrew. She didn't know one word of Hebrew.
So she carried on speaking
we spoke to her in
Russian or in the
the Persian, mostly in Persian.
Persian dialect.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And she was a tough lady.
Yeah.
She was a tough lady. Even at the age of 70-odd, she played football with my children. She was a tough lady. She was a proper Dagestani, decorated with medals. She was a judge. She sent criminals to jail. She was a tough lady. Very tough.
Did she fight during the war? Or?
Well, basically, she was. She lost a husband and several brothers during the Second World War, fighting for the Russian army against the Nazis. Yeah. She was left widowed at the age of 24. And she didn't have anybody. So she had to walk on the land that was confiscated from her parents by the Russians, by the communists.
By the Soviets, yeah.
She walked with bare feet to feed her 4 children. One of them was my father.
Okay.
So
she married again?
She never married. She wore black from head to toe from the age of 24 to the age of 78 when she passed away. All her entire wardrobe was black. She never looked at another man. She married off 3 daughters and a son. Grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Yes, so that's my memory of Russia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so what did you do in Israel?
Well, in Israel, basically, first of all, I learned the language. Then I went to school, and the rest is history. My wife came on the kibbutz.
Your wife is actually British?
British visiting a kibbutz.
Right. And that's where you met her?
Yeah, I was visiting my friends, and I met her. We fell in love. We got married at the age of 21 and came here. And all my 3 children are born here. My grandchildren are born here. So.
And here in England, you were a property developer for most of your life, no?
Yes, I was buying and selling properties.
And making a lot of money.
Well,
but that wasn't what you really wanted to do.
No,
What was your passion?
Well, every year I would say I will do my art. Every year I would say to my wife, I'll make a little bit more money and then I'll do my art. And that year never came. until September 29th,
How long were you interested
1996.
in art?
All my life, since I was the age of 5. My mother remembers me creating human figures as a kid, as a 5-year-old, taking mud and water and creating these human figures. My mother thought I would be a surgeon like my uncle in St. Petersburg. My father said, no, he's going to be an engineer. And I'm neither engineer and no surgeon.
Very typical to Iranian family. Always want their kids to be either doctors or engineers. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And
did you ever discuss with them saying, like, I want to be a sculptor? Did they?
Yes, my father said, no, that's not a profession.
Right.
And later on, when I started doing shows, and he used to say to his friends, oh, look at my son, he's a sculptor. I said, what happened to the profession? He said, no, that was then, now he's... Yeah.
Okay. So how many years were you a property developer for?
Until 29 September 1996, when I had the head-on collision.
Before getting onto your head-on collision, do you remember the first property you bought?
The very first property was in Hackney, in Stoke Newington. It was a 5-story building. That was the first building, commercial and residential building that I bought.
And then how many properties did you have when?
Well, I mean, I bought them,
career?
so I've never kept any.
You never kept them?
I've never kept any.
But you had an accident, and that changed your life.
Completely.
What happened?
Well, basically, on a Sunday of September 29th, 1996, I had a head-on collision. Somebody lost control of their car, came on my side, and I was locked in the car. It was about to explode, and
Were you wearing a seatbelt, or?
I was wearing seatbelts, but I was still covered from head to toe. I was completely. The airbags exploded in my face, scorched my hair. I didn't have any eyebrows left from the impact. Broke my ankle. So 3.5 years.
Luckily, the eyebrows came back, though, no?
They come back. Yes, I'm very lucky.
It's just the rest of the hair.
Yes, the rest of the hair never come back. Never come back. So basically, I put my hands together and said, if I get out of this alive, I'll do my art and nothing else.
So that was something telling you this is your last chance.
That was
either
29
do what
years
you
ago.
really want to do, or you never know if your life's going to end, and then you've never done what you wanted to do.
Exactly. And that's what I did.
But that's a big change, isn't it? Being
Massive
a property
change.
developer, there's no connection between that and
No.
a sculptor. So, I mean, first of all, what was your wife's reaction to that? Saying like,
straight away she said,
you want to give up a good income job and
do what
you want to do.
Do what you want to do. That's what she told me.
So what did you do? What was your first sculpture?
Well, first sculpture. Oh, that was actually a self-portrait of my accidents.
Right.
It's called Trapped.
Uh-huh.
That was the first sculpture. But it took me 3.5 years of operations, physio, to get back to start sculpting. But I was drawing.
How long were you in hospital for?
I was in and out for 3.5 years.
And you still carry this stick, don't you? Because
I've got no cartilage, I've got spondylitis, I've got disintegrating discs, I've got bone disease, I've got severe arthritis, so I'm falling apart, but I'm okay apart from that.
The good thing is you have a disabled badge, and if you ever want to go somewhere with you, it's always handy.
I'd rather give up that disabled badge and stay healthy.
I was just a humour, yeah.
Yeah.
And just to come out of this sort of like this dark period, I just want to talk about that time when you went on TV on that Deal or No Deal game show.
Oh, that was my son's idea.
Okay,
He wanted flying lessons. At the age of 14, he started taking flying lessons. He wanted to be a commercial pilot. So one day I came home and he filled in the forms for me. I said to him, son, what is this? So I said, watch. So I watched it. I thought, it's not for me. I'm never going to get on this. So anyhow, I went on interview. There was 5,000 people in the hallway. Everybody's giving 60 seconds on camera. I was waffling on for about 3 minutes. And to cut a long story short, ended up with 100 people. And we had to talk on camera 5 minutes. So I've probably spoken for about 10 minutes.
Knowing you.
Waffling on about nothing.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so it was only maybe a dozen of us out of 5,000 people left. And they said, there is 3 to 5 year waiting list. You just go home and you wait. I say to myself, I'm never going to get on this. It's never going to happen. 3 days later, they call me. They say, this is deal or no deal. Will you be ready in 10 days? I say, really? But you say 3 to 5 year waiting. No, you're a special case. We want you.
Was it that 10-minute of waffling that impressed them, or?
I've got no idea.
Okay.
Anyhow, so I went on this, and I could hear my son whispering in my ear as I was doing this show, the last, when they chose me. Say, Dad, get what you can and get out. Little did I know I had £250,000 in my box. So of exchange, I held the record for 9 years.
The format of the program was what? So you're given a box, and then you choose whether to keep it or to sell it, yeah?
Or to settle for a lesser money
Right.
from the banker. So I settled for £9,000.
But how much was in the box?
250,000. I held a record, the biggest loser on Deal or No Deal for 9 years.
So, that's some record, that is, isn't it? So you could have ended up with £250,000.
Yes.
But you ended up with...
And I would have had enough money to create as much art as I can.
That would have been like the cat come to cream, no?
Yes.
It'd be like ideal dream.
Yes.
You could have completely dedicated yourself about art and
but
not
I
worrying
did
about...
anyhow.
Yeah.
I still did.
despite
I
that,
still struggle. I still did.
In a way, maybe that was a good thing, because maybe that would have made things too easy for you, and you would have been too complacent.
Possibly, and the struggle possibly has helped to open up my mind to more possibilities, what to create, what not to create. But again, I've never given up. I've the last nearly 30 years now.
Tell me about this ups and downs of your time as an artist, as a sculptor.
Well, I mean, when I did the shows in Mayfair, I was given an option to do X, Y, Z, which I didn't do, and I dropped out of the.
Why not?
I just didn't want to. I didn't want my work to be corrupted by anything other than my art. But anyhow, I won't go into that.
As a non-art person, how does that corrupt your art if you put it in an exhibition? Is it because
it's not
you
about
have
the
to change your
exhibition?
style,
It's nothing to do with exhibition. It's is to actually put my work in auctions. That I wasn't so happy about, but that's a long time ago. That's water under the bridge. That's in the past. I have to look to the future. In the last nearly 30 years, I've created art that I love.
I start by saying, what's the highs and lows? So you
my highs is when I
high?
was doing all the shows in Mayfair, and the work was sold all over the world. That was my highs. My lows is when, at 2015, I say to the gallery, I don't want to do any more shows. I just want to produce. But little did I know, you cannot just produce. You have to sell as well. Right. And artists are not salesmen. They don't know how to sell. They know how to create, but they don't know how to sell.
So that was took time from you from concentrating on
10 years
on your art.
of not hardly selling anything.
That must have been difficult. So
very difficult. But I kept going. I kept making. I still keep making. You've got the images. You can put them up on your blog and show exactly what I create.
But I mean, generally speaking, though, there are some huge opportunities in art, aren't they?
Absolutely, absolutely.
What makes an artist? What gives them that break? What has to happen? Is it
first of all what makes an artist? No.
Is it the story behind it?
Every single one of us are born artists. All of us. Without exception. Whether you like it or not, you were born artists. Every single human being on this planet.
No art talent, Tolleck.
Because you have not developed it.
Right.
But we are, as human beings, we're a natural born artist. It's how we develop it.
Okay, but we can't all make it, even if we're talented.
No, absolutely not.
So who makes it? Who doesn't?
Who makes it? Who tells A story is being at the right time, at the right place with the right person.
So what examples are there?
There's many examples. Damien Hirst and Charles Saatchi.
Tell me about them.
Well, I mean, without Charles Saatchi, Damien Hirst would have never... He'll still be a squatter in Greenwich Village in a house.
So Saatchi was that salesman that you were looking for. So,
well, Saatchi is the basically a person who will take you under his wing and protect you as a parent.
Patron, the art patron. Your
I
art
would
patron.
say a patron or parent, like a mother will spread her wings and hold you from the rain. The same thing with any artist. Saatchi was has made many artists. He has destroyed many artists as well. Saatchi.
So is it why?
Because anybody did not play ball with him. Anybody he didn't like their attitude, he just put them in auction and sold them for £1. Although he paid hundreds of thousands for their work. He just...
How did someone like Banksy make it, but with his
Well,
graffitis
Banksy is a long story. Banksy is a completely...
You know him, don't you?
I've met him. But Banksy is a completely different story. Banksy basically took an idea of a French graffiti artist, made it his own, but he made it better by storytelling, by being a little bit more controversial.
Who was a French artist?
I don't know his name, but
he was doing similar things, doing graffitis on the wall.
He's still very much unknown. He's still in Paris.
So he took the idea from him, but improved it,
stenciling and spraying and improved it, and started to create. And he struggled for years. He didn't struggle for 1 year. He struggled for years, for many years.
Where did his break come from?
He was very, very clever to self-publicize and stick his art in museums, behind museums' backs, stick them on the wall illegally, which museums still cherish those pieces of art. They've kept them. And to put something on the roundabout or spray someone's wall. So he was a self-publicist. But the thing is, the establishment has saw potential in making money and started basically taking seriously.
Did he have a patron like Saatchi?
No. He just had one manager. Then, obviously, eventually, I think he fell out with. But that's another story.
But you had an opportunity to buy one of his works, no?
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Tell us about that.
That was a girl with a red balloon, £40 from the back of his van, Portobello Market.
Portobello Market, he was selling it from?
Yeah, from the back of his van.
And he offered it to you for £40?
£40.
What did you say?
I just ignored him and walked on.
How much would that have been worth now?
3.5 million.
So that puts that deal or no deal competition into the shadows. So that was another opportunity that you missed. But I mean, it's all fun, isn't it?
It's all fun.
This is all
but the thing is, what meant to be, meant to be.
Yeah.
And what not meant to be, not meant to be.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that.
So not many people know about Banksy, do they? I mean, he's shrouded in mystery. Most people don't know what he looks like. You've met him.
I've met him.
How many times have you met him? Just that once?
No, I met him a couple of times.
So how did it come across to you when you met him?
Yeah, very nice, smartly dressed, tall. Very pleasant. He was very articulate.
So in Portobello Road, he had a stall and he was selling his art from there, or?
It was somebody else selling.
Someone else was selling it?
I think it was somebody else.
So where did you meet him?
Well, I met him at the Andipa Gallery when he was doing a show, his first commercial show, which his prices was still very reasonable at the time.
Is that his real name, or is that?
Sorry?
Is that his real name?
What's his real name?
Banksy.
Banksy? No. I wouldn't divulge.
No, of course, yeah. But that's his like you. I mean, your surname initially wasn't Winner, was it?
No. I've changed
Yehuda,
it.
yeah. Changed. Why did you choose Winner?
Well, for my son, when he came from kindergarten, nobody can pronounce his name. So I said to him, don't worry, son, as from today, you're a little winner.
Okay.
And that was it.
And that was it. You changed your name, right? So tell me more about what you can say about Banksy without revealing
all
his
I
identity.
can say is a lovely Greek boy from
He's
Bristol.
Greek. Right. He's
That's
Greek
all
from
what-
Bristol.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all I can say. Nothing else.
Right. And what's he worth now? I mean, he must be worth millions now.
It's probably was 600 million.
Can you tell us
Good luck to him.
which country he lives in? Or
Oh, he lives in London.
he lives in London.
Yeah.
And do you think it's a good thing that he's kept his identity
Yeah, why
secret?
not?
Yeah,
Why not?
rather than
That's-
sort of like being
The mystery, that's what's keeping
is
people...
selling it. Yeah.
Selling. Yeah, it's not just selling, but some of his stuff, it really tells a story.
Mm-hmm.
He's a commercial artist.
But it must be quite
I
difficult.
take off my hat to him.
It must be quite difficult to be that well known. I mean, even if you talk to someone who doesn't know anything about art, they've heard of Banksy. They've seen his work. So he's got this amazing fame around him, and he's managed to keep his identity secret. It must be quite difficult. Now, how's he managed to do that?
Well, I mean, he's got limited companies and obviously keeps everything secret. Why not? If you have money,
But in today's world,
you can keep everything
it's-
secret.
in today's world, it's very difficult to
To keep a secret.
keep a secret. But he's managed to do it. So
He's managed to do it very
okay,
cleverly.
well, hats off to him.
Hats off to him.
Okay.
Good luck to him. He's a smart individual. He's done well. Why not?
When you
He's a
said
great
he's
guy.
Greek, is he born in England? Is he like of Greek heritage?
I don't know. All
Right.
I know is he's Greek from Bristol. That's all I know.
Okay. Your art isn't political. Well, it's not political in the sense that it's not partisan politics. You're not sort of like for one political party against another political party. Your art is about life, is about suffering. I mean, you mentioned that unfortunately we've had more than one Holocaust. We've had, apart from the Holocaust in the Second World War, we've had the killing fields in Cambodia and other places. And your art tries to reflect some of that suffering, but you're not political in the sense that you promote one specific politics. Whereas Banksy does that, doesn't he? I mean, he's very much sort of like left-wing politics. Does that help, or is that just a byproduct?
No, it's just byproduct. But it doesn't matter if somebody takes to his art and they love his art for what it is. Just like a girl with a red balloon and that half shredded stunt that he did, which gave him more uplift for his brand. Why not? Hats off to him.
But by involving himself in politics, does he not alienate people that oppose his politics?
He doesn't care anymore.
He's got so much money that he doesn't care. And art as an investment is something that I've never understood, not being an artist or an arty type person. But you can make a lot of money in art, can't you? So what makes a good investor in art? Is it just spotting the right opportunity, or?
It's knowing the right time, when to buy, who to buy. That's art, as I said, it can be anything other than you have to, I mean, you mustn't look for money investment. You must look for something that you love, takes your eye. And I sold my art to artists who admire and love my work. So they don't buy it as an investment. They buy it because they love it.
So if I was an investor coming to you
Yes.
to get some tips and ideas as someone who's had a wealth of experience in 30 years of
30 years in art,
experience in art,
yeah.
your tip to me would be, don't buy something because you think you're going to make money out of it. Buy it because you love it.
Yeah.
So that making money out of it is just a secondary. It's a bonus.
It's a bonus.
Right.
It's a bonus.
Okay.
It's a bonus.
And right now, you've got an offer as well, haven't you? About your work. What was it that you're saying? You're looking for someone to buy.
Well, I'm looking for a collector to take my entire collection, and obviously,
What does your collection include? How many pieces?
well, about 500 pieces in my collection.
Sculptures and paintings.
Mainly sculptures,
Right.
some paintings. Basically, I want the collector to have a responsibility of I want to hand over a responsibility to somebody who not just want it for money because they love it. And I can carry on creating art. And I just want to hand over to a responsible collector the entire 500 works.
So if one of my subscribers is now watching this interview and he's interested in this offer, how should they contact you?
Well, I'm very easily be found on Google search engine, Instagram. Just type in Tolleck, Tolleck.
Sure, and I will leave something in the description.
Yeah.
But is there a contact detail on any of the websites?
Yeah.
If they go to your
my telephone numbers, my emails, everything is there.
Okay, so I'll leave a link to that to your website,
to my Instagram,
and then they can contact you.
They can contact me. Yes.
From there.
Yep.
Okay. Well, look, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
You.
And
thank you
cheers
for having
again
me.
for coming.
Cheers.
And we're going to go to a cigar lounge now. Yeah.
Thank you.